Hey Dreamers, and welcome to Dreamers Unite, the talk show for dreamers. I am your host, Sherri Pullum, and I am so thrilled, I can't tell you how thrilled I am to be back in the studio. It's been a while, but I am excited today because we are doing a special. It's all about the Teaneck International Film Festival. Yes, it's November, and the festival is back. And we are happy to be back with Jeremy Lentz, the executive director. He is a humanitarian, he is an activist, and he is also my very dear friend, and really so much more. He is no stranger to Dreamers Unite. Jeremy, I love having you on the show.
I'm so happy to be back, Sherri. Thank you for having me. It's great to be back in the studio.
Yeah.
Good to be here talking TIFF.
Yeah, talking TIFF. And it's good to be in person again, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to just jump right in because this year is just packed. So let's tell our viewers, what can we expect this year from the Teaneck International Film Festival? Tell us a little bit about the opening film, some of the films in between that you really want to highlight, some of the local artists,
Yeah.
and also the closing film too. Let's talk a little bit about that.
So, 20 films in 7 days.
Wow.
We're keeping the hybrid model, which has been great. So we're going to kick off with the virtual portion of the festival that'll run from November 13th to the 15th. So viewers can access that from anywhere in the country. And then starting on Thursday, November 17th and running through the 20th, we're kicking off in person. And the venues will be held at Teaneck Cinemas on Cedar Lane in Teaneck, New Jersey. And we're bringing back Temple Emeth, where we have our gala reception and our larger screenings. So we're happy to be back at full throttle this year after, 2 years with the pandemic. Last year we came back, but at a much smaller scale. So it'll be great to see audiences coming back out to more screenings this year. As far as the films that we're doing, there's so much on the roster, but opening night, which is sponsored by the National Coalition of Black Women, we're doing
Shout out.
a premiere, New Jersey premiere of a UK film called A Story of Bones. And the film tells the story of two women from opposite ends of the Atlantic. One woman from Namibia in Africa and the other woman here in the New York area. And there's an island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean with 4,000 inhabitants that is called St. Helena. Mm-hmm. And up until very recently, there was never an airport on that island. So the British government, because it's a protectorate of the UK, decided to invest over $1 billion in building an airport. And this woman goes out to the island to be on that project. And when they're excavating land to build a road to get to the airport, they uncovered the remains of over 10,000 freed slaves. And she says to the British government, hold up, stop, wait a minute, we need to preserve, look into this, memorialize. And that was met with some conflict.
Yes.
And this is the oldest living trace of the Middle Passage. This was a stopping point between Africa and the Americas where slaves would be brought. So this woman finds Peggy King Yorday, who's also a Bergen County resident that's based here, who was very involved in the movement in Lower Manhattan when they were building an apartment and excavated land and found a slave burial ground.
Yes.
And put the pressure on New York City to make sure that that was preserved and memorialized. And this woman reaches out and is like, I need your help.
Yes.
What you did in New York, we need help here. And she flies out to this island, and these two women embark on this fascinating journey. So, it's a film that is remarkable about preserving history, memorializing who is telling our stories.
Yes.
And it's particularly relevant in a time where we see, things trying to be whitewashed in this country and people not wanting to preserve history properly. So this film is really sparking a global movement, because as much as this is a British film, it's as much an American story and what is going on just in our own backyards with preservation here. Many people don't know what happened in New Jersey with regards to slavery and our burial grounds here. So there'll be a really robust conversation about that.
So the talk back, you are having a talk back?
Yeah, so Peggy King Your Day will be on the talk back with Arnold Brown, who is a local historian, and that'll be moderated by Emmy Award winner Randall Pinkston. So surely going to be a really engaging discussion. So I would encourage everyone to show up, because change starts at the local level, and it starts in community. So a film like this was just such a perfect fit for what we do at TIFF with activism, making change, and engaging community. So that will be our opening night. You had asked me about our closing night film, which is also a remarkable story. It's a documentary called Aftershock, and it's filmed by a local filmmaker, co-directed by Paula Eizelt, and it deals with the maternal health crisis going on in the United States. And it's bringing attention various stories of people who have lost people in the maternal health system, and the inequities with black women dying at substantially higher rates than white women, and having a conversation about that. The film will be featuring the head of DEI from Planned Parenthood New Jersey.
That's great.
We'll also have Paula Eizelt and the protagonists of the film.
This festival is probably one of the only that really has a social conscience, right? So tell us about that.
It's a film festival about activism and about making change. We're a social justice festival, and we created that theme because of our own history and recognizing our history in Teaneck. Teaneck was the first town that voluntarily voted to desegregate its public school system in the 1960s, and that's the first town in America. And we are a project of the Puffin Foundation, which is a national foundation that provides grant funding to artists who are marginalized because of race, gender, religion, social philosophy. So we fused that, and we were co-founded in partnership with two prominent African American women's advocacy organizations, the National Coalition of 100 Black Women and the Lynx. And it really gives us purpose, because we're able to showcase the best films that are out there and tie the films that we're screening into the causes of the various community-based organizations that partner with us. And we engage community about bringing change. And we have seen so much happen in our country over the last 17 years that we have been doing this, that the need for a festival like ours has become so much more important, because voices are getting silenced. Media is shifting and changing, and newspapers are dying, and the way people access news. So to have a platform where we can take important stories and give them a voice and get that out there in the community is everything.
It is everything, and I think we can't underestimate the value of artistic expression to do that.
Film is the most powerful medium,
powerful.
Sherri, the most powerful medium to change people's hearts and minds.
Right, and help them to see themselves.
Yeah.
And it also opens up conversation, and that's what the festival,
That's what we do.
That's right.
Right?
You're so brilliant
because
at doing that.
I think, it's one thing to show a film, but to engage an audience to stay and have a discussion so people can learn from each other. You may not agree with all the issues, and that's okay, right? But what's important is that we can come to the table and have a dialogue, and have a civil dialogue in safe spaces. And that's what's being lost in this country, in what we see in our national politics. So to be able to bring people of all different kinds of backgrounds and political ideologies together, to sit down and create safe spaces where we can be respected and have intelligent and important conversations is essential. And that's why we keep coming back and doing this year after year.
You've been with the festival now for
14 years.
14 years. Wow. What is your personal why that you give your energy, your talent, your gifts? Because really everyone volunteers, right?
Right.
For the festival,
Everyone.
right? There's no, you're a volunteer. I also am a happy volunteer for the festival. So what makes you do this type of work and be so committed for these 14 years?
It's essential. It is the most gratifying thing to be able to bring community together and to be able to see change and to meet people like the filmmakers that we bring in and various activists, because these stories aren't necessarily getting reported, Sherri.
That's right.
So what's remarkable is you meet so many wonderful, inspiring, passionate people that are out there changing the world for the betterment of others. And to be able to do that and have the ability to learn and be stimulated, it's my continuing education. It's my education, because there's so many things that I have learned about in doing this festival that I was never taught in school. And I was like, wait a minute, why wasn't I taught about this? Why isn't this being taught as required reading in our high school classrooms? So to have a platform where we can come in and do that, and we can work with the Teaneck Public School System and engage 1,300 students in a youth program every year is critical. So we're making a difference, and that's why. I mean, why not, right?
Yes, yes. Why not? And why not be a part of the Teaneck International Film Festival? So tell us who supports the Teaneck International Film Festival. Where do you get your funding, and how people can, obviously, where can they go this time to get their tickets? And if they want to donate and support, how can people do so?
Everything is done through our website. Okay. So go to teaneckfilmfestival.org. Everything from ticket sales to our sponsors, to our history, to our roster of films, to the trailers of films can be found on the website. We are supported by the Puffin Foundation as well as major corporate and local sponsors, and we're supported by individuals like you who donate. And you can also make charitable contribution. We're a 50c3 nonprofit through our website. So much of this festival is community driven, and it's viewers like you that support it. And it's remarkable that in a suburb 5 miles west of New York City, where you have some of the most incredible film festivals in the world, that for 17 years, this suburban film festival has not only been supported, but has thrived. And that's because of community, and it's because of what people like you do here and getting the message out.
Thank you so much for that. And listen, I'm inspired. I'm a learner of life too. And I've learned so much, met so many wonderful people, have this great relationship now with you, my friend. We have to realize that we have to do our part.
Yeah.
But I definitely believe in film to inspire higher, conversation to inspire higher, and to encourage a greater tolerance and understanding from people that don't look like you.
Right.
Right? And that's, like you said, right now we are very polarized in this country. So I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
I'm going to continue to be a part. We're going to continue to support you always. I want to just talk a little bit about one other film, If These Walls Could Talk.
Yes.
That's important right now, what's happening, Roe versus Wade. So tell us a little bit about that film and when that will be screened.
So I am so happy that we secured the rights from HBO to do a legacy screening of this film, which premiered in the 90s. It's co-directed by Sherri and Nancy Savoca. It stars an all-star cast of women, which includes Sherri, Demi Moore, Sissy Spacek, Jada Pinkett Smith, and the film will premiere on Sunday, November 20th. Okay. And it's a free screening. So it's open to everyone. You just have to reserve a ticket. There's no charge. And we're having an important conversation about abortion in a post-Roe America. And this film, which is a narrative film that deals with a suburban house during 3 separate generations in time in America, and each woman's story who lives in that house with abortion. So you're looking at, the civil rights movement, life in America before Roe v. Wade, and then come full circle to a time now where we're living in America where we're back to a place where Roe v. Wade, or abortion rather, is illegal in so many states, and the impact that that's having. And we're going to have an incredible discussion with the filmmaker. Nancy will be there. It's going to be moderated by Angela Bonavoglia, who's an expert on the field. She wrote the book, The Choices We Made, which was one of the first books that documented famous women being open about their stories with abortion. It features Whoopi Goldberg, Jill Clayburgh, has a foreword by Gloria Steinem, and representatives from Planned Parenthood and the National Council of Jewish Women, who's the sponsor of that film. And this film is particularly important for them because it's their 100-year anniversary, and this is a critical issue right now. Totally. And at the forefront of their organization and their movement. So it's really important for younger generations to come out so that they have a broad understanding of what the history has been in America with women's reproductive rights. And we've been, throughout TIFF's history, every year showcasing films on abortion, and usually they've been documentaries. And we're not surprised at TIFF what has gone on with the Supreme Court decision, because we've seen over the years through the documentaries and the speakers that we have that the laws were being chipped away and we were moving in this direction, but the Supreme Court just pushed this forward. However, now is a time when rights are taken away, that we saw this last week when people went to the voting box. All these states that had abortion on the ballot, look at what happened. So people are coming out and people are pissed, right? So now is a time for people to get engaged, people to understand how to activate, how to make change, and what we can do to help people that are living in states where their right has been taken away. Yeah,
that's so important, Jeremy. And again, that's why the Teaneck International Film Festival is a staple. You're not going anywhere.
We're not going anywhere. How could we?
You can't. There's too much work to be done. So, okay, Jeremy's been here before, okay? So this time we thought we'd shake it up a little bit. So we're going to be able to learn a little bit more, too, about the festival, Jeremy, because we're going to test your memory.
Oh, my God.
On how well, 14 years you've been at this. I didn't tell him beforehand what I was going to do. I always love to see the surprise. I love the phrase. I love it. So I'm going to ask you, just kind of fire off a few questions. See how well you know your festival.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm going to test your memory. I know you're going to do a great job. What movie was screened when Jodie Foster appeared at the festival?
Yes. Jodie Foster, 2019.
Yeah.
We premiered the film. The name, oh my God, you're going to ask me names.
I'll give you Untold. Alice.
Pamela Green was the filmmaker. Pamela Green, the filmmaker. Be Natural. Be Natural was the film, right? And it was Alice Guy Blanchet.
Yes.
Yes.
The untold story of Alice Guy Blanchet.
This is like a post-COVID brain. So it filters down, but it like the way my brain works, it takes time. But that film was remarkable. Jodie Foster produced the film. She narrated the film. She came out to Teaneck with Pamela Green, and it was locally such a significant film because it told the story of the birth of cinema in America when Hollywood was actually right here in Bergen County before all those studios moved out west. And people don't know their history because the American cinematic industry started right here in Bergen County. The word cliffhanger got its name from the Palisades.
Incredible.
Incredible.
Yeah, incredible story. Very good, Jeremy. So far, so good. Okay.
Barely.
So
it took me a minute.
So what about Bob McGrath? So what TV show? Okay,
Sesame Street.
Yes, okay, I was going to say, I could always hum a few bars if you needed to. You already knew that. Okay. Okay, this year, a well-known song, there's a film that's being screened. Well-known
Marian
song.
Anderson, The Whole World in Her Hands.
Yes.
Did I get it?
You did. That, I'm going to say yes, and I should have added that one too, because that Marian Anderson, let's talk a little bit about...
we have actually 3.
It's true. It's
Right.
true. So let's talk about Marian Anderson. Just tell a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, Marian Anderson, icon in American music scene, African American woman, singer, opera, everything. She was an honorary Link, and the Links of Bergen County are sponsoring this screening about her life and her legacy. So
What day is that being screened on? Do you know?
Friday,
Okay.
November 18th. At
November
Teaneck
18th.
Cinemas. And that's going to be paired with this short called The Invitation that tells the story of the Links. So for those of you that don't know, the Links are an African American women's advocacy organization. They're a global network. Our Vice President, Kamala Harris, is also an honorary
Yes.
Link,
Yes.
as Marian Anderson was. And the short that's being tied to the feature film tells the story of the founding of the Links, which was chartered in Philadelphia, and how the Links have shaped so much of the history in America. And we talk about African American women with regard to activism and advocacy and voting. What would this country be without African American
That's right.
women? How these groups have organized and how they've impacted change for decades and are still doing it.
Where would this country be without African American women, families, inventions, social justice, women's rights?
All of it.
all
All
of
of it,
it.
Sherri.
Yeah, where would we be? The glue. Thank you for recognizing that too, Jeremy.
You got to go back to the other song.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, but there's one more. Okay, we'll say Shrek. The movie, the songwriter, this song was in Shrek. Did you see Shrek? You may not, because you didn't have kids. Okay, okay, I saw
I
it.
mean, I know about it, but
Okay. Does this give you a hint? Hallelujah. That was doing my prayer hands.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
So,
Leonard Cohen.
Leonard Cohen.
Right, Leonard Cohen.
The iconic song Hallelujah.
Yes.
We're showcasing a documentary called Hallelujah on the
Called
life and times
Hallelujah.
of Leonard Cohen.
That's
and
right.
focuses on his journey as well as the impact of that song, which has made him
Yes.
iconic.
Do you know when that one's being screened? I'm testing your memory on
I
that
believe
too.
Sunday, November 20th
You're good. You're
at Teaneck Cinemas.
okay. You're good. Okay, which film won Best Documentary in 2020?
Best documentary in 2020. That was our virtual
That was our virtual.
festival.
You introduced me actually to that filmmaker. She was on my show.
Lucina Fisher,
Yes.
Mama Gloria. Yes. What an incredible film. What an incredible story. Lucina Fisher reached out to me recently and sent me a note because Gloria Allen recently passed, and President Biden did a ceremony at the White House for LGBTQ month and recognized her advocacy and her contribution to this country as a transgender woman at a time in America when women weren't permitted to be transgender, and this woman lived her life. She lived in her truth. And Lucina Fisher documented her story as a gift to her daughter, who's trans, to show them that you're not going to be a statistic, because trans women statistically have a mortality rate that's very young in this country.
Yes.
And she wanted to show her, here's a woman who's a senior, who is inspiring people, who has lived a full, rich life. And she told Gloria Allen's story in the documentary, and she said that, we were the first film festival that scooped that story up and
Wow.
spotlighted it. So, it just so many remarkable, remarkable filmmakers and people have come through this. And to have the history of Gloria Allen being at TIFF and being on the talkback is just, yes.
That was
yes.
an iconic moment.
And
that
I would
story.
encourage anyone out there, if you don't know about Gloria Allen, go check out Mama Gloria and learn about her story.
I still get goosebumps when I think about that whole story. And obviously, I'm so grateful. Lucina and I now have become friends and speak.
Lucina has been...
She's an amazing filmmaker. Lucina, shout out to you, Lucina Fisher.
She's been involved with the festival on so many different levels. That wasn't her first film at TIFF either.
Right.
She was involved with TIFF as a producer on a film that related to abortion and women's reproductive rights, so many years prior. So these people, their stories keep coming back and new work, and yeah, it's remarkable to see kind of the history and the ebb and flow of how the festival brings in and connects people on so many different topics. Oh, I like this.
I was going to
This is
say,
fun.
and you know what? It's so great. I love seeing your face light up.
Yeah.
You know, just looking at the journeying with you through the festival.
Because we don't stop, right? We're always working.
It's very
and
true.
we don't stop and kind of take a look back and see all that we've done, because there's always so much more work that we feel like we have to do. But when you actually can kind of sit back and reflect on it and think about, wow, we did that. Wow, these people are being propped up on the national stage by the President of the United States.
That's so huge.
You know, to see President Biden recognize Gloria Allen, to see, you know, the New York Times covered her story, to see her everywhere. Incredible.
It is incredible, and that's the change that we're looking for. Yeah.
And I think, you know, as long as people continue to show up, continue to be engaged, continue to care, something about, I think, humility, integrity, compassion, respect, and those are values that I think we really need to have for one another. And, you know, they sometimes get lost.
Yeah, okay. Okay, dreamers, I know you were wondering when there was going to be a nugget moment, right? It's right, it's time for this nugget. Catching it from Jeremy, humility, compassion, respect. We have lost sometimes those virtues, those values, that quality, and we just need to sometimes sit and be reminded of it, because it really is available always to each and every one of us. I'm catching the nugget. Here it is, dreamers. Boom. Throwing it out to you. So catch that from Jeremy Lentz, wise man. Yeah. So we have one more segment, Jeremy, that we're going to do, and it is going to be to talk about your dream for TIFF. And you're going to get a chance to write down your dream for TIFF, and you're going to add it to my dream box, where dreams are sacred, okay? They are sacred. They're sacred gifts. And you're going to be able to add that dream into my dream box, my own personal one that I made, yes. And it has other dreams in it, from Kool and the Gang, legendary, Danielle Saunders, her dream is this. Some of my other guests from the show, I don't want to just name drop people. The bottom line is we are going to affirm, we're going to play the game, name it, claim it, own it. Okay, dreamers, we are going to now play Name It, Claim It, Own It. Yeah, it's been a while since we played this game. So we're going to play this dream game with Jeremy Lentz. So what this is all about is Jeremy is going to name his dreams. So we're going to write down, he's going to have one for the Teaneck International Film Festival and a personal dream. And he's going to name the dream. So we as a community, because I believe in numbers of consciousness and energy, focusing on whatever it is that your dream is, right? Claiming it and affirming it with Jeremy is super important. And then he is going to own it. It doesn't have to be today. It doesn't have to be tomorrow. It is going to be in divine timing, whenever that time is right. But when he does own that dream, he's going to come back and he's going to share it with us. He's going to share, well, he'll be back anyway, but, you know, we may do a whole nother, just a special on just that dream manifesting, that dream coming into fruition, that dream coming into reality. He's going to own it. So,
I love it.
Let's name
manifest
it.
our
Let's
dreams.
Manifest. There we go. So
first one's for Tiff.
it can be, okay, however order you want to do it. And you can share it or not. It's your personal choice, whatever you'd like to do. And then I have made a dream box while Jeremy is writing. So I made this dream box, and my dreams are in here. And as I've said before, dreams are sacred gifts. They really are. And I've put a lot of powerful words, images. You can make your dream box the way you want it. You can write on it. You can use, I use magazine pictures. I've also used, you know, written some sayings on it. And there's power, obviously, in what we think about, what we focus on, right, is what we attract to us. And also, visually, seeing it, I do look at my dream box often. And it's important that you have a place and space, too, for your dreams to help them manifest and come true. So
So that's the Tiff
That's
dream.
the Tiff dream. Do you want to share it, or do you want to just throw it in the box?
You tell me. I feel like it's a birthday wish. If you share it, it's not going to come
Okay, there
true.
we go. It's in the box.
So we have to talk about
Yes.
manifesting that dream,
Yes.
making it come true, and then we can come back and talk about it.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, that's a good, and that's what we're going to talk about. He's going to come back when he owns that dream.
Yes.
Yeah, and talk about how that dream manifested, yeah, and sometimes too, the other thing is many times when we have our dreams and they do come true, many times we have new dreams, right, that replace that dream, or I won't say replace it, but we go on to maybe another dream. And dreams evolve, dreams transform, they change as we grow and as we transform and as we change. So Jeremy is writing his personal dream. Not everybody gets to put their dream in my dream box, okay? This is for my special friend who has his dream in my dream box, and some other very special guests.
We're going to dream big. We're going to dream big.
Yes.
I always think about Chicago. The line in Chicago where she goes, "Think big, Roxy."
That's right.
Big.
Think big, Roxy. Think big, Jeremy. There you go. It's
Yes.
in there.
I love
It is, yes, unbeatable strength is on the top. And that's what you have, Jeremy.
Oh.
I want to ask one last question before we actually close out. I didn't get a chance to ask you how the festival started. You know, some of the founding members, how they started the festival and why.
2 women started the festival on a treadmill at the local gym. And those 2 women were Judy Disler, who co-founded the festival, who's still actively involved with the film festival today and going to be moderating the closing night film this year.
Awesome.
And Ellen Rand, the former executive director who I took over from after she served for 4 years at TIFF. And these 2 women were on the treadmill and were like, you know what? Teaneck needs a film festival. And they went to the Puffin Foundation to ask for the seed money. And the Puffin Foundation agreed. And then they got community-based organizations like the National Coalition of 100 Black Women and the Links involved. And part of the initiative was not only to work to revitalize Cedar Lane and have an attraction that could bring business to local Main Street, but it was also to work on the reintegration of Teaneck, because many felt in the community that Teaneck was becoming more segregated in many ways, and that Cedar Lane wasn't necessarily being frequented the way that it should be by all members of the community. So these organizations all got together and said, we're going to do a film festival. And with the help of the Pullum Foundation, they launched the first festival, and the opening night film was called The Silver Bells, and it was about the Harlem, they called them the Harlem Hoofers, and these ladies were in their 80s and 90s and came out from Harlem and were tap dancing in the theater and on the streets, and they had like a 1920s car line up the red carpet, and Senator Weinberg was there with a feathered boa, and a representative, Gordon Johnson, and you know, the National Coalition president at the time, Deborah Beachy Witcher Jackson,
Yes.
who is so prolific
I love her.
with that
Yeah.
chapter, who's still very active in the community. So
Yeah, good lady.
But that's how it was founded.
Well, talk about you never know where a dream can be inspired. So for the Teaneck International Film Festival, it was inspired right in Teaneck between two friends on a treadmill. So take that and think about that, dreamers, where your dreams could be inspired, how you can be motivated and encouraged. The possibilities are endless. Jeremy, my friend.
Sherri, thank you so
are-
much. Thank you so much for doing this and for the work that you do and inspiring people to dream. Because people forget.
Yeah.
They forget how to dream.
Yeah.
And they need to be reminded of that.
Yes. Yes. Okay, dreamers, did you hear what Jeremy Lentz said? People forget. They forget how to dream, and they need to be reminded of it. So I am reminding you, Jeremy Lentz is reminding you, please dream. Dream big, dream out loud, and dream unapologetically. And do not forget to subscribe. Follow us, like us, share your comments. We are always interested in hearing from you. So if you like what we're doing, support us, right? Dreamers need support. Thank you so much, dreamers. Thank you, my friend. I'm ending this with a huge hug. Oh, Jeremy Lentz. Dreamers, we'll see you again next time. I'm coming back with some great new content soon. So be on the lookout. Get your shades ready, because we are turning up our light to light up those dark corners wherever they may be. See you again soon.